द्वितीयस्तु एवं भूतं परतत्वं केन प्राप्यते इति आकांक्षायां तत्प्राप्ति उपायभूतां शरणागतिं यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश प्रहिणोति तस्मै तं हदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रसादं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये इति श्रुतिम् उपबृंहयन् वाल्मीकि हि अस्मिन् रामायणे उपक्रमप्रभृत्युपसंहारान्तम् अनेक अधिकारी फल विशेषादि प्रदर्शन मुखेन अखिल फल साधनतया प्रतिपादयति. Section 2. By what means can the above mentioned supreme truth be attained? Anticipating this question, the sage Valmiki describes the process of surrender unto him in this Ramayana, thus elucidating the Vedic description of the process of surrender unto him. Because I desire liberation, let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who first enlightened Lord Brahma in Vedic knowledge through Lord Brahma's heart. The Lord is the original source of all enlightenment and spiritual advancement. Shvetashpatra Upanishad 6.18. Okay, so this is proper translation. Indeed, from the beginning of the Ramayana to its end, Sri Valmiki presents surrender as the means to attain all sorts of benefits by illustrating the attainment of specific results by persons eligible for them by surrendering unto those who are capable of fulfilling those desires and who are compassionate upon such surrendered souls. Surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also the central teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Now, surrender, Sharanagati, has a specific meaning in the discussion of the Sri Vaishnavas and in Gaudiya Vaishnavism also. Srila Prabhupada explains this in his preface to Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Krishna's ultimate instruction in Bhagavad Gita is that everyone should surrender unto him, Lord Krishna. Krishna promises to take immediate charge of such a surrendered soul. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is already in charge of the maintenance of this creation by virtue of his plenary expansion, Kshirodgashayi Vishnu. But this maintenance is not direct. However, when the Lord says that he takes charge of his pure devotee, he actually takes direct charge. A pure devotee is a soul who is forever surrendered to the Lord, just as a child is surrendered to his parents or an animal to its master. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also elaborately described the process of surrender in his Bengali prayer booklet, Sharanagati. We request interested Vaishnavas to go through it to better understand what surrender unto the Lord means and what it does not mean. Surrender, it refers to 6 items, Shadangika Sharanagati. There are 6 items of surrender as taught in the scriptures, to do whatever is pleasing to the object of surrender. So suppose A surrenders to B, then B is the object of surrender and A is the surrendered soul, and that activity is referred to as surrender. So surrender means 6 items have to be in place. To do whatever is pleasing to the object of surrender, A should do whatever is pleasing to B. To avoid whatever is displeasing to the object of surrender, A should avoid doing whatever is displeasing to B. To have great faith that the object of surrender will protect the surrendered soul, that is, will grant the result desired by the surrendered soul and protect the surrendered soul from all obstacles to the fulfillment of that desired result. So, A is surrendering to B in order to get some benefit. So, A should have great faith that B is capable of getting that benefit for me. He can fulfill my prayer. He can fulfill my request, and he can also prevent any obstacle that comes towards his granting it to me and me receiving it from him. He can also prevent all obstacles that come in between that also. To beseech the object of surrender to protect him. And on top of it, A should beseech, should humbly request B to protect him, to give him what he requires, to protect him from any obstacles that might come towards that attainment of that. To submit oneself completely, that is to give up the consideration of submitting unto anyone else, to not surrender unto anyone else, and to submit oneself helplessly, that is to give up all other endeavors in this regard. So not that he himself starts doing other things in order to get that result. This is what is technically referred to as Sharanagati or surrender. It's also called Sharanagati, Sharanapatti, Prapatti. Lord Chaitanya quotes the following words from the Vaishnava Tantra: Anukulyasya sankalpah, Pratikulyasya varjanam, Raksheshyati vishwaso, Goptatve varanam tatha, Atmanikshepakarpanye, Shadvidha Sharanagatihi. The 6 divisions of surrender are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotion service, rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master, full self-surrender and humility. Srila Prabhupada has commented. This comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22.100. Srila Prabhupada has commented on this. One who is fully surrendered is qualified with the 6 following characteristics. The devotee has to accept everything that is favorable for the rendering of transcendental loving service to the Lord. He must reject everything unfavorable to the Lord's service. This is also called renunciation. A devotee must be firmly convinced that Krishna will give him protection. No one else can actually give one protection, and being firmly convinced of this is called faith. This kind of faith is different from the faith of an impersonalist who wants to merge into the Brahman effulgence in order to benefit by cessation of repeated birth. A devotee wants to remain always in the Lord's service. In this way, Krishna is merciful to his devotee and gives him all protection from the dangers found on the path of devotional service. The devotee should accept Krishna as a supreme maintainer and master. He should not think that he is being protected by a demigod. He should depend only on Krishna, considering him the only protector. The devotee must be firmly convinced that within the 3 worlds, he has no protector or maintainer other than Krishna. Self-surrender means remembering that one's activities and desires are not independent. The devotee is completely dependent on Krishna, and he acts and thinks as Krishna desires. The devotee is meek and humble. This explanation that I have provided here, this is derived from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation, brief explanation in his commentary to Bhagavad Gita 18.66. Okay. Tatha hi upakrame tavat एतस्मिन् अंतरे विष्णु रूपयातो महाद्युतिः शंखचक्र गदापाणिः पीतवासा जगत्पतिः इति सर्वशेषी सर्वेश्वरः रक्षा अपेक्षा प्रतीक्षः रक्षण समयः लब्धः इति समुद्भूत औज्ज्वल्यः रक्षण उपकरणैः सह सन्नद्धः अभ्येत्य तस्थौ तदा देवगंधर्व यक्षाश्च ततस्त्वां शरणं गताः इति रावणवध रूप फलार्थं ब्रह्म रुद्रादि देवगण शरणागतिरुक्ता. The various aspects of the process of surrender are set out below with reference to incidents described in the Ramayana. At the beginning of the Ramayana, that means Balakanda, Canto 1, Sri Valmiki describes the Supreme Master and Lord of all as waiting for the opportunity to protect his surrendered devotees. He is the Sarvasheshi, he is the master of everyone, he is the protector of everyone, he is the sustainer of everyone, and he is waiting for the opportunity to provide the protection. As soon as the Devas surrendered to him and beseech him to save them from the torments of Ravana, he became brilliant in satisfaction, thinking, I have now got the opportunity to protect those who have surrendered to me. and appeared with his weapons for protecting them, and stood amidst them, fully ready to award them protection from any danger. This is stated as, at this time, the greatly effulgent Lord of the universe, Lord Vishnu, bearing in his hands a conch, disc, and mace, dressed in yellow cloth, appeared. So this is when Brahma and the others, they were praying. At that time, the Devas headed by Brahma and Rudra surrendered unto Lord Vishnu, begging him to award them the result of killing Ravana. See, you surrender for a purpose. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a prayer. Prapatti has to be accompanied by prarthana. It is in fact Goptritve Varanam, Goptatve Prarthanam. One should pray. Even if you want simply love of God, you should pray for that. Yes, we learn from Shikshashtaka. When we surrender to Krishna and we pray for exclusive Krishna Prema or Bhagavad Prema Seva, that is also a prayer. That is also a prayer. At that time, the Devas headed by Brahma and Rudra surrendered unto Lord Vishnu, begging him to award them the result of killing Ravana. We have assembled here along with the sages so that he may be killed. The Siddhas, Gandharvas, and Yakshas take shelter of you for this reason. Yes. Okay. So in this way, Sharanagati by them has been described. Then, Tataha Trishanku Shunashepha Adi Vritanteshu Vishwamitra Adi Vyapara Visheshan Mudirya Sharanagata Rakshanam Paramaha Dharmaha Samartha Karunika Vishaya Sharanagatihi Phala Vina Bhuta Iti Pradarshittam. In the Ramayana, the sage Valmiki also describes in detail how persons such as Trishanku and Shunashepa surrendered unto persons such as Vishwamitra. He does this to point out that the highest duty, the highest dharma, is to award protection to a surrendered soul. And that if one surrenders unto a person who is fully capable of awarding the desired protection and who is compassionate upon the surrendered soul, such surrender will invariably lead to the desired success. Note these 2 points. Fully capable of awarding the desired protection, samartha, capable, and is compassionate upon the surrendered soul, karunika. Samartha, karunika. 2 things. So he is fully capable and he has to be fully compassionate. So when A surrenders unto B, A should do 6 things. And B must be samartha and karunika. B must be capable of fulfilling that request of A, that prayer of A. And B must also be compassionate. You may be capable but not compassionate, or you may be compassionate but not capable. So you need to be compassionate and capable. He needs to have 2 features. Trishanku was a king in the line of Ikshvaku who had wanted to go to Swarga in his own body through certain Vedic procedures. Thus he was cursed by Vasishtha's sons to attain the status of one who is born as a Chandala. Though he was cursed by Vasishtha's sons to attain the status of one who is born as a Chandala, he surrendered unto Vishwamitra, who was capable of fulfilling his desire and who became compassionate upon him. Vishwamitra fulfilled his desire even at the risk of inconveniencing the demigods. Shunashepa was Vishwamitra's nephew. He had been sold off by his parents to a king as a man animal to be sacrificed by that king. By providence, Shunashepa happened to meet Vishwamitra and surrendered unto him, knowing him to be capable of fulfilling his desire to be alive, not to be sacrificed by that king. Vishwamitra became compassionate upon him and taught him two mantras to be chanted. Shunashepa did so and was set free and alive. He was alive by the intervention of Indra, who was pleased upon his chanting of those two mantras. Both of these histories are found in Canto 1 of the Ramayana. The history of Trishanku is found in chapters 57 to 60, and the history of Shunashepa is found in chapters 61 and 62. Tatascha. स भ्रातुश्चरणौ गाढं निपीड्य रघुनन्दनः सीताम् उवाचाति यशा राघवं च महाव्रतम् इति पुरुषकार पुरस्करण पुरस्सरा शरणागतिः कार्या इति उदीरितम्. Sri Valmiki also points out that while surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, one must first submit to his consort, who mediates between the surrendered soul and the Lord, and who pleads for his mercy upon the surrendered soul. Holding his brother's feet tightly, the greatly famous Lakshmana, the beloved descendant of Raghu, spoke to Sita and Raghava of great resolve. 2.30.2. This is when Lord Ramachandra wanted to go to the forest. When Lakshmana, he was begging Lord Rama, but he was trying to convince Lord Rama through Sita Devi. So that's why you require a Purushakara. You require a mediator. Since Lakshmi Devi is the eternal mediator between the conditioned souls, between the souls and the Lord. Mediatrix, you can say. A lady mediator. So she is the ultimate. So one requires to do this. One requires a mediator, first of all. One requires a mediator. You cannot. It is too difficult to convince the Lord directly. You require a mediator. Actually, we'll see this. Tataha Bharataha Sheshye Purastat Chalaya Yavanme na prasidati iti Rama Abhisheka Phalaya Sharana Varanam Akarot. Bharata surrendered unto Rama, desiring the result of Ram's coronation as the king of Ayodhya. Indeed, he even said, I will sleep in front of a hut here until Ram returns to Ayodhya and becomes its ruler. This is second canto of Valmiki Ramayana. But it appears that, okay, then we'll see. Atra Ravana Vadhaya Krita Devagana Prapatti Phaladhanaya Nirgamanat Tadanim Ramaha स्वप्रतिनिधिभूत पादुका प्रदानेन तत् सफलं कृत्वा पश्चात् देवगण मनोरथ पूरणानन्तरम् आत्मानम् अभ्यषिञ्चत् अतः न शरणागति वैफल्यं चोद्यम्. So now one can object. But it appears that Ramachandra did not fulfill Bharata's desire, though he surrendered unto him. Why is that? In this situation, Rama had come out of Ayodhya to grant the result of the Devas' surrender unto him when they had besieged him to kill Ravana. This is before Ram had appeared. That time itself, the Devas had prayed to Lord Narayana. So the Lord wanted to fulfill that prayer because they had surrendered unto him. Therefore, Lord Rama gave Bharata his sandals. So at the same time, Bharata is also praying. He is also surrendering that you must take charge of this kingdom. So now there are two surrenders with two opposite prayers. One is said, please go kill Ravana somehow. And another is said, please rule this kingdom. Therefore, Lord Ram gave Bharata his sandals, Paduka, as his representative, as the ruler of Ayodhya, thus making his surrender unto him fruitful. So he had given his paduka. So therefore, Bharata, he was able to take that paduka on his head and put it on the throne, and he was ruling only as an agent of those padukas. So Bharata wanted Rama to get back and rule Ayodhya. So Lord Ramachandra fulfilled that prayer when Bharata had surrendered unto him to fulfill that prayer. At the same time, he satisfied the demigods, thus making his surrender unto him fruitful. And after fulfilling the cherished desires of the Devas, he returned to Ayodhya and coronated himself as its ruler. Therefore, one cannot object that surrender unto him can be fruitless. अथ दंडकारण्य वासिभिः विरोधी निरसनाय शरणागतिः अनुष्ठिता ते वयं भवता रक्ष्या भवद् विषयवासिनः नगरस्थो वनस्थो वा त्वं नो राजा जनेश्वर इति. At Dandakaranya, the residents of that forest surrendered unto Ram to destroy the evil opponents to their spiritual practices by praying to him thus: we reside in your territory, therefore you should protect us. Whether you reside in the city or the forest, you are our king and ruler. So here also they took shelter of him, which means they surrendered unto him, Shadanga Sharanagati. And their prarthana, their prayer was he should destroy the evil opponents to their spiritual practices. Atra Kosala Janapada Vasinam Iva Bhagavad Vishaya Vaseva Sharanagatihi. From this, it is clear that residing in the territory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the residents of Kosala, is itself surrendered to him. They had vowed to stay in the Lord's kingdom. Residing in the Lord's kingdom is not as an enemy or as an indifferent soul, as a surrendered soul. This refers to residing in a place where the Lord eternally resides through an eternal deity form of his, etc. Resides in the form of an eternal deity form of his, etc. Some places like Ayodhya and Vrindavan are saturated by the Lord's pastimes. Some places are eternally sacred because they are abodes of the Lord on earth, like Badrinath. The Lord's personal presence is the determining factor. Not that because he is present in the form of Paramatma everywhere, it is all right to reside anywhere. To reside in the Lord's own abode is one of the top 5 items out of the 64 items of devotional service, even according to Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. See the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 13, entitled 5 Potent Forms of Devotional Service. Now, out of the 64 items of devotional service, there are a few items that we know Srila Rupa Goswami has placed twice for emphasis. But there is only one item which he has placed 3 times, and that is to reside in the Lord's abode. Comes 3 times within 64. You can understand how important that is. Okay, then Tadanantaram Sapitra cha parityakta suraischya sumaharshibhihi Trin lokan samparikramya tammeva sharanam gataha satam nipatitam bhumau sharanya sharanagatam padarham api kakutstha kripaya paryapalayat iti kakavrittantena agratah patanam eva sharanagatihi iti adarshi. While describing the incident of the crow who had bitten Sita Devi and at whom Lord Ram had hurled the Brahmastra, the sage shows that simply offering obeisances unto the Lord in full submission is surrender unto him. Rejected by his mother and father, as well as the demigods and the great sages, Jayanta in the form of the crow went around the 3 worlds. And finally, fully surrendered unto Rama. The descendant of Kakutstha, the object of shelter for all, out of mercy, protected that crow that had fallen on the ground while offering him obeisances, though he deserved to be killed. This incident will be narrated by Sita Devi to Hanuman in Canto 5. When Sita and Rama were in the forest, Indra's son Jayanta had assumed the form of a crow and bitten Sita Devi while Lord Ram was sleeping on her lap. She didn't protest and didn't want to retaliate, and so didn't want to wake up the Lord. But her blood did touch him, and he woke up. The Lord turned and found the crow with its beak with blood and understood the situation. Mother Sita is the ultimate mediator between the living entities who are averse to serving his lotus feet and the Lord, and an offense to her is worse than biting the hand that feeds one. So to correct Jayanta, Lord Rama took a blade of grass and empowered it to become a Brahmastra and hurled it against Jayanta, who, after seeking shelter elsewhere and being refused, finally unconditionally surrendered unto Lord Ram, and Sita Ram forgave Jayanta. This is very, very important. These are all very important points to observe. When you surrender without any duplicity, without any diplomacy, then Sitaram will accept. Tadanu Sugriva Vrittantena Kritaparadhasya hi te nanyat pashyamyaham kshamam antarenanjalim badva Lakshmanasya prasadanat iti sharanagatihi Anjali Rupa Ukta. When Sugriva had offended Lord Ram by not searching for Sita after Vali was killed, surrender is again described as joining one's palm in supplication and sincerity. Hanuman to Sugriva. Indeed, I do not see any way for you to atone for your offense unto Lord Ram, except by joining your palms in supplication and seeking Lakshmana's forgiveness and favor. अथ सीतावचनेन मित्रम् औपयिकं कर्तुं रामस्थानं परिप्सता वधं च अनिच्छता घोरं त्वयासौ पुरुषर्षभः विदितः स हि धर्मज्ञः शरणागतवत्सलः तेन मैत्री भवतु ते यदि जीवितुमिच्छसि इत्यनेन आनुकूल्यमेव शरणागतिः इत्यबोधि. The author Valmiki informs us through the words of Sita Devi that surrender unto the Supreme Lord means being favorably disposed to him in submission. This is Mother Sita speaking to Ravana. To Ravana, if you want safety and do not want a dreadful death, establish a useful friendship with the Supreme Person Ram. He knows Dharma and is affectionate to those who surrender unto him. Therefore, if you wish to live, become friendly towards Ram. Please him. He is affectionate to those who have surrendered unto him. So she is also instructed. Just surrender. So Sri Valmiki has reported this. Upari soham parushitastena dasavachavamanitah त्यक्त्वा पुत्रांश तारांश राघवं शरणं गतः इति विभीषण शरणागत्या विरोधि परित्यागपूर्वकत्वम् उक्तम्. Sri Valmiki points out that before surrendering unto the Lord, one should abandon the association of all those who oppose such surrender. This can be seen in Vibhishana's surrender unto Lord Ram. Having been dealt with harshly and insulted like a servant by Ravana, I have abandoned my sons and wife and come to surrender unto Raghava. 6.17.16. Okay.